Thursday, October 2nd, market analysis, Stan Ehrlich, 1:40 California time. We start out with stock indexes, go to futures, and go to some stocks. And then I have other comments to make most days. For the last month and a half or so, I've been commenting about the expectation of the October lows. Historically, since 1993, when the S&P SPY started to trade, we have seen for 30 years or so a low in October that has been worthwhile waiting for and buying. Occasionally, it wasn't particularly profound or that big of a decline, which usually started in September or August or September, before October, of course. This year, we have not seen any top in August or September and no decline for any significant length of days into where we are now already, October. It's not that it still can't happen. It's just that it's different than past years and decades. So I am still looking for some major sell signals, which I have not found. Or let me amend that. I found them and they didn't work very well. They worked a little bit, but not what I was expecting. And I still expect it. So we have bullish breakouts off and on. We have new highs, historic, slightly higher closes, not that big a deal. This is MES, daily data chart. I'm also going to skip over the 1 minute or 5 minute charts very quickly because there's nothing going on that I want to point out on an extremely short-term chart like a 1 minute or 5 minute chart. So I'll just concentrate on the dailies. Next chart is the 5 minute and skip. The SPY is very similar as you would expect, but we are starting to get overbought again. The RSI has reached 75 or higher at the high of the day, and that turns our price yellow. It means caution, and it means you are likely to soon, that could be a day or two, it could be a week or two, turn down. This last overbought condition took about a week and a half, in which we had two major bearish ER red signals, one of which worked slightly for the next day, and that was from 9:16 to 17. And the other one was on 9:23, which was much better. It had a 2-day down move that was very substantial break, but it didn't last. These red bearish engulfing ER sell signals are sometimes part of topping out activity. And again, I don't see a top yet. I got all kinds of warnings, all kinds of reasons, and it's just not developing. But I can tell you from 53 years in this business that you don't turn your back on these things. They can happen extremely quickly, all of a sudden, with reasons, if you can find out the reason to begin with, that is a surprise. And if you are long, or if you're not short yet, you don't like it. So you got to have planning in advance. At the moment, all I can say is I wouldn't go long. I'm looking for a short entry reason. I don't have it. I'm waiting. And basically, that's across the board. Next chart, skip the 1 minute. QQQ, overbought, waiting for a sell signal. NQ, overbought, waiting for a sell signal. I expect when I'm waiting for a sell signal that we could go somewhat higher. Next chart is the YM, not overbought in the Dow, not even in a new high ground like the spiders and the Qs. So it could develop a double top, maybe, I don't know. All I can say is it won't stop rallying, which is fine for the bulls, fine for the position traders, fine for long-term investors, etc. But watch out. Next, we've got the Russell. basically the same as the YM, although not quite as strong, and in a very profound long-term resistance area. So I am also expecting it to turn down, although it is not overbought. And we go to bonds. Bonds made a slightly higher high today, closed a little higher on the day, but I am not overbought. I can expect a little bit more strength. I still think this bond market is not going to go up or down very much for a while, and I'm waiting for signals. 10-year notes, same thing. Although in bonds, I do have to point out that that red bearish engulfing on September 17th is still in effect. It could, should, might drop it down to new lows lower than the last few weeks and start a little bit more of a down move. I'm not super bearish, but I am expecting some significantly lower levels soon. And I can say the same thing for the notes with two bearish engulfing signals, one of which is almost the highest high for the trend, but not quite. That was on September 11th. And the last one was really the beginning of the down move, 917. Next, we've got a drop into support on the crude oil. So, not oversold, a little bit lower as long as it doesn't break out of the support level, closing underneath it. We could be oversold with a little bit more of a dip and then see a bounce. So I don't trust the downside too much more at the moment and would be looking for a buy signal very soon. Natural gas, a little bit of a new high, still overbought. It did break above the resistance, but it didn't stay there. Again, it's kind of the reverse situation of pushing a ping pong ball underwater and letting go, popping back up. This, we pushed it up into the clouds. It couldn't stay in the clouds and drop right back to earth and a little bit lower on the day. I'm not sure how I can analogy for that. But anyway, this looks a little bit bearish. Next, we have a good sized dip, new low for a little bit, nothing major. We're still in a pennant formation, looking for signals sideways in a pennant. Next, bearish engulfing, brand new gold sell signal today. This is something brand new. This is the first time for a while. Now, the last sell signal didn't work all that well, dropped off for a little tiny bit for only one damn day, and it wasn't that big a deal. This one looks a little bit more interesting. That's all I can say. I can't tell you it's more profound, it's going to drop off a lot more, etc. But I like the way it looks, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it work very, very well soon. I'm bearish as of now because of the red ER sell signal. That is a bearish engulfing with overbought conditions. My bearish engulfings are a little bit different than the Japanese traditional definition, but almost exactly the same. Not quite, though. And the RSI is very customized. And again, I learned RSI directly from Wells Wilder himself. I was on the international lecture circuit in the late 70s, 80s, 90s, and a little bit after that. So, red bearish engulfing on silver today. Well, yep, today. That's great. Now, both precious metals, and I think platinum had one yesterday. We'll see in a moment. So now all three, I think, and there's platinum. It was 2 days ago, not yesterday, and it did make a new low and a little bit higher, well, about an unchanged close. Going back to silver, this is great. Gold has a sell signal. Silver has a sell signal. Platinum did have it a couple of days ago. Oh, and obviously, the precious metals look to me like they're going to drop off a chunk more. Going back to gold real quick, where are we going to drop down to? I think at least 37.39. And I wouldn't be a damn bit surprised if it was a drop all the way back to 35.40. What about silver? Probably at least back to 43.40. And there's a little support again at 42.20 or 42.30-ish. But I wouldn't be a damn bit surprised if it would come all the way back down to 36.9. That's a big move. Next, okay, platinum. Support's a lot closer. Didn't go up as much, relatively speaking. Didn't even quite make it to my minimum upside objective I've been talking about. And that's because of the pennant formation, the size, the measurements of the back of the pennant. That's how you measure from the breakout point upwards. I didn't want to measure from the staff, the low of the staff, up to the beginning of the pennant. That would be way much higher. Not too much point into that for the moment. If it comes down to support and then starts to make another new high, then I'll probably measure the higher objective and see what we get out of that. Next is, hey, copper. It rounded a little bit more, touched exactly the resistance area that I've had on these charts for a long, long time. So overbought again, divergence, new high in price, but not a new high in the indicator, could cause it to turn right back down. We might get stuck between a rock and a hard spot here for a while. I'm turning bearish on high grade because of the overbought and bumping against resistance, even though it didn't close lower. I don't have an exact new short price or stop or anything like that. So I'm just looking at resistance being tested and overbought conditions. I think it'll turn down. Next, bullish engulfing on soybeans is working fairly well. We did have a little rally today. It is a new high close for the last week or plus. So I'm looking now for a move back up to 1053, then up to about 1063, which is testing resistance. And if we can close over 1063, we may have something very bullish following through after that to a lot higher. But I'm modestly bullish up to the 1060s, 70s. Next, oil. We had an outside up day yesterday, but it wasn't oversold, so I don't have a green bar. Unchanged to a tear higher today. Nothing real great. Just tested support and started to turn back up a bit. Modestly friendly at the moment in soybean oil, we'll see. What about meal? Okay, oversold condition, popped it back up today very nicely. New high for a few days. I'm thinking that we could rally relatively easily up to at least something around 280, 2.3, very possibly 90, 290, and I wouldn't be totally surprised at 298 resistance. Now, this is interesting. At the end of July, there's a low. Rally, resistance, break back down, no new low yesterday relative to the end of July. If we can start making it up into the resistance area above 298, then we have higher highs over time and higher lows over time, which begins to define a bull trend. All I can say is I expect to see it rally a bit more. Yeah, you got to watch out for the resistance areas in here. Okay, corn, little rally. Can't say too much about corn at the moment. Wheat, bounce back up again. Can't say too much about wheat either at the moment. And we have apple. A little higher on the close. No breakouts of any kind. Doing okay. But you got to watch out. We've been overbought just recently, very recently, and there is a gap to close down here, and there's another one here. Good support doesn't start until 241 and a half. I'm leery of the long side, very cautious. I think we're going to start slipping. Next is Tesla. Oh, bearish engulfing on Tesla. And in the same ballpark it topped out before when I got a whopper of a sell signal, which was on December 18th, in the ballpark of 470, and it ended up going down to 230. Come on. Wow. Huge. It's possible that it could do that again, although at the moment I'm only looking for a gap closure at 396 and another gap closure maybe at 360. This is the beginning of a break. Should be, could be. It looks like it. I sure as heck want it to be. And NVIDIA, oh, overbought again. First time in quite a while since late July. Expecting a break because of the overbought conditions. Back to the beginning, MES. You guys have a great day and profitable trading to you.